And welcome, everyone, to the Inland Sports Show. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. We're going to dive deep into the CIF Southern Section playoffs on this episode. We also got some great interviews coming your way. We're going to check in with the Paloma Valley boys wrestling team who made some school history. We'll check in with the Wildcats in just a moment. A little bit later in the show, we're going to hear from JW North's brand new head football coach, Kiyoshi Harris. And we're going to talk some Western Athletic Conference basketball, specifically CBU and their star Dominique Daniels Jr. with our good friend Kyle McDonald from WAC Hoops Nation. So we're going to break that down as well. But we're going to start this show on the wrestling mat. And we got to give a big shout out to Kobe Merrill, man. He is a defending CIF state champion. He is a beast, and he's up to his old tricks. It's a Bass Athletics play of the week. Kobe Merrill rolling to a CIF Southern Section Eastern Division champion. The first three-time CIF champion in JW North history. He cruised to the finals. He pinned everybody, and then he won by a forfeit in the final match. And this is the quarterfinals, and Kobe pinned his opponent in 9 seconds. Dominant. Beast mode. Kobe Merrill, our Bass Athletics play of the week. And of course, the heavy favorite to defend his state championship at 285 pounds. Congrats to Kobe Merrill, our Bass Athletics play of the week. All right, so Kobe's rolling. Also, Paloma Valley boys wrestling. They've had some really good wrestling teams, boys and girls, at Paloma Valley. The girls have a championship. Well, now the boys do too. They are the first Paloma Valley team on the boys' side to win a CIF championship in any sport. The boys wrestling team got it done. Also at the Eastern Division meet at Canyon Springs High School, we caught up with head coach Luis Robles and some of his star wrestlers, in fact, his seniors, that led the way for Paloma Valley to their first ever CIF Southern Section championship. So without further ado, check out the Paloma Valley Wildcats right here on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show, the Paloma Valley High School boys wrestling team. We go inside the Wildcats wrestling room. They are the CIF Southern Section Eastern Division champions of the world. We got Coach Luis Robles and some of his Wildcats as well. Coach, congratulations. This is, from what I read, the first CIF team title in school history, right? Like for any sport.
For boys. So we've won.
Boys, yeah.
So it's the first boys title in any sport. So we've been close a few times. We've been runner-up 4 times. I think football has been runner-up once, maybe twice. I think that's about the extent of how close we've been in all boys sports.
Man, so to be able to make some school history, what did it mean to you? Because I know, you've been at Paloma for a while, whether it's football or wrestling, to do this and bring home a championship.
For me, it means a lot. I mean, obviously it's the kids that did it and the coaching staff that made it happen. But it is a special one for me. It's the first boys title I've won, and I started coaching boys. Girls is something, it's been almost 10, 11 years on the girls' side now, but it's more relatively new. I've been coaching boys for almost 22 years. So it feels really good to finally get one. But feels good for the school because, sometimes you feel like, honestly, here, it feels like you're cursed, like it's just never going to happen. We've had some bad circumstances. Some of these boys know in particular, like we've been close, but some type of bad luck strikes us every time. So it feels good to know that it's not a curse, that we're capable, and we finally made it happen.
Well, you guys are way too young to know the Buffalo Bills reference of the 90s, or maybe like the Red Sox with that drought and finally winning the championship. But that's pretty awesome. Coach, let me get to your guys as well. I'm just going to go down the list that I have. Let me start with Isaac Esparza. And Isaac, what does the championship mean to you? Why is this so important that you guys were able to finally overcome and get that first title?
It means a lot, especially my senior year. I've been with Coach Robles in the Paloma program for a good amount of time, almost, I think, 6 years now. So, being able to do it my senior year and winning my own individual title along with that almost feels like a fairy tale finish in a way, like he finally did it.
Isaac, I don't have all the Eastern Division schools in front of me, but I know some of the programs that were there. Dude, you had some good competition. Can you talk about what it means to win an Eastern Division title, considering some of the maybe the wrestlers individually that you had to beat, and as a team too? I mean, this means something to win this CIF championship.
Yeah, it means a lot, especially for where I started off in this sport. My freshman year, I was JV. I went 0-6 in varsity, and then the year after, I went 1-2 at CIF. Barely got a varsity spot. But just seeing that improvement and those leaps and bounds, it means a lot. Not only to me, but just seeing the program too, just evolve. Especially over the years I've been here. Yeah, it's a big thing for me.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, Isaac. Let me go to your left. Uriel Cruz at 126. Isaac was at 175. Uriel, man, to win a CIF championship, do you guys feel like rock stars on campus now? Man, everyone giving you high fives?
Feels pretty good. We haven't been at school yet. But
Oh, you haven't? Wait, you guys off all week?
Yeah, we're off all week. They're not ditching, I swear. They're off all week.
But that's awesome. You got Masters coming up, so I guess it comes at a great time, right, to focus on wrestling and get ready. But Uriel, to win a CIF team championship, and as Coach alluded to the fact that Paloma's come so close in the past, to finally get it done this year, what do you think was the difference? What was unique about this year's team that you were able to get over the hump and win that CIF championship?
and just everybody being there, and no one getting hurt and any injuries, and everybody, the support was there, the mentality was there, everybody was in it, and we were just a big family and really wanted it.
Let me back up before the CIF meet. What was the mindset going in? Did you guys, I don't want to say you were cocky, but did you guys have confidence going into it, feeling like, you know what, we should be there, we should have a chance to win the CIF?
Yeah, for sure. We just did what we had to do and did our best capability.
All right, Uriel, congrats. Will Leyva. Will, listen, to win this CIF championship, Coach was talking about the fact that this team found a way, right? They found a way, to get it done this year, to be part of this team, to be part of that first championship. What does it mean to you individually as a wrestler on this program?
It means a lot, especially because my sister actually won the CIF title for the girls team 2 years back, so it feels good to just be equal with her, have another ring on the shelf.
Yeah. It's funny because Coach talked about he's been coaching the boys up for a long time. The girls are still relatively new, but they've had a ton of success. Now the boys have the CIF championship. Will, and just in your estimate, what did you guys do well as a team at the CIF meet? Was it just the mindset? Was it supporting one another? What do you think was the difference?
I think it was really just everybody just being there for each other and just being there for your teammates and stuff. Yeah, that's probably what helped the most.
All right, good stuff, Will. Let me go to Brandon Owen right now. And Brandon, kind of the same thing, just the preparation leading up to the CIF meet. I'm always intrigued on how teams prepare, just physically and mentally, to be ready for that moment. What was the week of practice like leading up to the CIF state meet, so you guys had that confidence going in to feel like you guys were going to be one of the favorites to win it?
I think that just going in the room, getting what we need to get in, going to have a little fun too, just mostly going in with the mentality of just get better what you need to get better at. Don't burn yourself out. Just spend this week to have fun. And mostly just that's really it. Yeah.
Do you have to, I know it's obviously stressful and pressure packed and all those sorts of things, but when you guys are able to, grab that CIF hardware, that trophy, is it a good reminder hey, this is fun. We're doing this, because we want to. No one's making us, get in the wrestling room and roll around, for hours and hours. This is fun, man. Is that a good reminder when you have that hardware, that trophy?
Yeah, it felt amazing. It felt like all the hard work we put in, all these years, whenever we started wrestling, it all led up to this point. And to this point, as a team, we all support each other to an extent, and all that support, all that family, all that love, we all came together and we made that CIF title together.
Awesome. Good stuff from Brandon Owen as well. And then finally, last but not least, of course, the great Anthony Saldana. And Anthony, congrats on the team championship. Was this one of the goals? I'm just curious. Was this one of the goals as a team that you guys maybe set out before the season, saying, hey, there's some things we want to accomplish this year? One of them would be a CIF team championship. Was that something that you guys had, kind of locked in for the year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that when we started putting the roster together and just looking at who was going to be at every weight, I think we really started looking at it like, hey, like we have the guys and we got the numbers and we got the men in this room to where we can go win a CIF title. And it wasn't just looking at the roster, it was looking at the partners, you know, like even the guys that maybe we pulled up to weights that we didn't specifically have. We knew that they were going to get better and just be able to help us win a CIF title by the partners that we had in the room. And I definitely think that was a big goal for us and something that we knew that we could accomplish. You know, all week we were saying, don't believe it, know it. Like we knew that we had the ability to go do it. And it was just, honestly, it was just going to do it. And that's all it was. It was just knowing it, not believing it, and that we had the ability to do it. And then we went out and did it. And that's all it was.
Like, how important was just like you said, your partners, the practices leading up to, you know, and maybe just throughout the entire season? I mean, you guys probably have some great competition in your own room, you know, besides, you know, competing against other schools. How did just wrestling against one another get you ready for this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that all my success, not even just as a team, but personally, I can say is because of my team and my partners. I mean, I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for my partners and my team. Like they make me better each and every day. And it's not even close to how grateful I am to be in this room, just with the spirit and just making each other better. Like no matter if it's going live or just drilling, like we make each other better every single day and we hold each other accountable. And it's honestly a great thing. I can't lie to you and I'll say that, yeah, we get in fights and we scrap with each other sometimes in practice, but you know, that's what makes a real competitor. And I think at the end of the day, that's what really got us to win that CIF title is the healthy competition in our room and the way that we push each other like a family.
Iron sharpens iron, man. It's a cliche for a reason because it's true. It's Anthony Saldana. Anthony, congratulations, Coach. Let me go back to you to wrap things up, man. So we're not done yet. You know, I know you guys are enjoying that CIF Eastern Division Championship, and now Masters coming up. So, you know, what are you hoping to see from Masters as your team, but individually trying to get some guys, through and up to Bakersfield?
I mean, this was one of the things we talked about going into CIF, which was we told every wrestler, boys and girls team, if you qualified for CIF, you're worthy and you can place and go to Masters. That's kind of the same thing right now as, you know, some guys barely qualified or, you know, were close and took the last spot. But I believe once you get to the Masters meet, it's anybody's chance. So, I mean, I honestly believe all 9 of our boys have a shot to get to state. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be a large number, the largest ever. But that's the mindset, right? Like you made it, so you didn't get there just to show up and go home and collect a patch. Like you're there to compete. And I think, you know, these 5 plus the other 4 that are underclassmen all have a shot, along with our 7 girls that qualified. So we're just trying to get to another week. We're trying to get them all to qualify because we also preach that this is one of the toughest sections in the state. So if you can get out of the sectional, you can go place at the state meet. So it's really just, you know, it's another week and we're blessed to have another week. And now we're trying to make it one more week because that's the cool part is if you get to the last week, that's it. Like it's just, you know, you're there and it's fun because you don't have to keep thinking about next week and the next thing and the next thing. So.
Well, you got a strong senior group, and it's not an accident that you guys have a CIF Southern Section Championship now as you head into Masters. Coach Robles and the Wildcats here on the Inland Sports Show. Guys, congratulations, and go get them at Masters.
Thank you for having us.
Inland Sports.
All right, congratulations to the Wildcats, CIF champions, first boys team in school history. All right, we're going to go from wrestling now to soccer. Our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game this week with the must-see match because it was 2 local teams squaring off in the Division II quarterfinals. On the boys' side, the Patriot Warriors and Citrus Hill Hawks. The Hawks won the match by a final score of 4-1. What an impressive effort by Citrus Hill. So they advance to the CIF Southern Section Division II semifinals. But it was a great year for Patriot, a historic year for the Warriors. Congratulations to them. But Citrus Hill moving on to the semifinals in our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game this week, and it happened just before the big storm blowing in. I think it's going to be pretty wet here on Wednesday, maybe even on Thursday as well. Now, this past Saturday, we had Arroyo Valley versus Hemet live on IEMG, and if you missed it, Wow, what a huge match by Alexia Sahagun. That's her first of 3 goals in the match. She finished with a hat trick as Arroyo Valley defeated Hemet by a final score of 4-0. It was 1-0 at halftime. Here's Sahagun's second goal of the match, and again, she finished with a hat trick. 4-0 the final. They would move on now to the Division 6 quarterfinals. So if you're watching this live and amplified, they are just finishing up that match. But Alexia Sahagun, goal number 3, the hat trick for Arroyo Valley, and to punch their ticket to the quarterfinals in D6. Congratulations to the Hawks and Alexia Sahagun, a big match there. And again, that whole game is live, or was live, and still you can find it on IEMG. That's the Inland Empire Media Group YouTube channel. And also on Sports Weekly this week, we've got highlights and interviews from San Bernardino girls water polo. They beat Tustin in the quarterfinals by a score of 10-7. And then they went on to beat Laguna Hills in the semifinals. So San Bernardino will be playing for the CIF Southern Section Division 5 Championship on Saturday against Edgewood. Congratulations to the Cardinals, making school history, getting to the finals for the first time ever. And you'll remember 2 years ago, the San Bernardino boys won a water polo CIF championship. Now the girls can do the same thing. Jason Mendoza, the head coach there, former player at San Bernardino, has done obviously a tremendous job, and now he's put the girls in a position to win a CIF championship. Man, can you imagine the boys and girls both winning medals within the span of a couple of years? Pretty impressive. So congrats to Coach Mendoza and the Cardinals, moving on to the finals on Saturday. All right, we're going to take our very first commercial break of the night. When we come back, you know what, we love talking high school football. We're going to have the brand new head coach at 3rd in Chicago, Kiyoshi Harris. That is coming up next here on the Inland Sports Show right after this.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona, driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics hopes student athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. Visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken.
A kid that he literally needed belief. He wasn't someone that was maybe as talented as people thought his brother was. He wasn't getting the same shine and the same attention, and he just needed the right place to bring it out. Everyone has different aspects that they need to work on, right? For some kids, they need to get bigger. For some kids, they need to get their academics up. For some kids, it's just overall maturity. But whatever it is, we're going to bridge that gap. We're going to get those gaps sewn up now so we can get you ready for when the opportunity does come, you're ready to meet the moment. And that's what development should be. I love to work with a kid who a lot of people don't see it right away. Maybe he just needs a little bit of work. Maybe he needs a little bit of belief. Once you put him in the right setting, put him under a barbell, you put him in the right classroom, and they shine, and that's what development is all about. It's not about where these kids are right now. It's about where they're going and how you as a coach can help them get there. I love doing that. It's the best part of my job.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
All right, welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. I'm Pep Fernandez. We appreciate you tuning in here on Wednesday night. Hope everyone is safe and staying dry out there with all this wet weather. It's kind of like in the middle of the week, so hopefully it'll be okay for our CIF playoffs coming up on Friday and Saturday, and of course water polo out there as well besides soccer. Okay, so let's talk some high school football right now. There's always high school football news year round, especially in the off season. We've got some new head coaches in the area. One of them at JW North, but he's a very familiar name, Kiyoshi Harris. He'll be taking over the Huskies. The last couple of years, they've finished 1-9. Did not win a game in Ivy League play, which is very tough. That's one of the better leagues, right, in the Inland Empire. But next year, JW North will be in the Sun Belt League, which will kind of open things up, and they should be super competitive. Kiyoshi Harris is a great coach, and it's a great spot. He feels like they can win right away at 3rd and Chicago. So without further ado, really appreciate Coach's time. Here is Coach Kiyoshi Harris here on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show, the brand new head coach on the corner of 3rd and Chicago, the JW North Huskies, the one and only Kiyoshi Harris. And Coach, first off, congrats on the North gig. I know you've got Inland Empire ties. You've got ties to the Huskies. What was it about the North job where you're like, man, I got to move back out to SoCal and take over this program?
Of course, the tradition of North is huge, man. Just growing up, me being from Paloma Valley and, also playing with a lot of guys in junior college that went to North and just playing North in high school. That's where it kind of all started. And just kind of growing up, through the coaching ranks and being in junior college. And, North has a ton of tradition, man, just not only on campus itself, but basically just in the community, and that strong tradition, it grows really strong throughout their athletic department. So that was a huge factor. I was there for about a year and a half when I came back from Boise State. I helped start up the flag football program over there and just working for an awesome administration. That was kind of key. Anytime there's a change and you're going to switch in jobs, you want to feel comfortable and you want to be around individuals with the same goals and mindset as you guys do. And they're just good people there at John W. North. So I appreciate them for everything.
Well, Coach, I think you just answered my next question, but I'll ask you anyways, because when a coach takes over a new program, a lot of them say, hey, I wasn't necessarily, looking, but I was looking for the right fit. Like, it's got to be, the admin support's got to be there. It's got a place where, it's got to be a place where I feel like we can win. There's kids on campus that we can win with. It's got to be like everything's got to come together. Do you feel like everything just kind of came together for you on this North job?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that you say that. The opportunity is the one thing as coaches, especially as head coaches, that we look forward to. And, do you have opportunity to have success? Are you going to have support there? It's been 22 years since I've coached high school football, as far as just being, out there on that field with the guys. And the biggest thing that came to my mind is, are you going to have an opportunity, an opportunity to be successful? And I think, out of a lot of the places that had open positions, without a doubt, John W. North is that spot. So I was happy to have the opportunity to get there and, we're ready to work.
Coach, you brought up a really good point about, coaching high school football. You've been doing the community college thing of recent. So what did you miss about high school football? I don't know if there's huge differences between like JC and high school or, community college, but, what did you miss about, high school football?
I think, it's just like, it's very similarities, what I'm saying? Maybe the players just a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, but things are very similar. One of the things I think is just, camaraderie. You get to have those guys for 4 years, hopefully, 3 to 4 years. Junior college is a little bit different. Our average guy was only there for probably 2 semesters and so on. So just having the opportunity to kind of build it from the ground up and sculpt it your way, that was very intriguing for me, to see those guys come in from a freshman, and hopefully hopefully you're able to keep them all the way through a senior and, to help them win some games and develop some good habits and, move them on. And so that's kind of enticed me to kind of get back.
All right, Coach. For the casual viewer, so JW North is part of the Rain Cross Conference, right? And you guys will go from the Ivy League to the Sun Belt League for this upcoming season. I feel like the Huskies should be in the mix, right, for a Sun Belt League title or a playoff spot. When you look at the program and the team, do you feel the same way? Like, hey, why not us? Like, we should be in the hunt for a league championship. We should be, competing for a CIF playoff spot at the end of the season.
I wouldn't even be the right guy if I didn't think, that we could compete, But honestly, just spending time there that year and a half before I took on off again, I saw what's on campus and basically North has talent. I'm saying? North has, good tradition. Of course, I keep saying that, but North, has that want to. There's a lot of people on that campus that, want to see North successful. And, I think it starts from the top, and I keep saying that as well. But, there's no reason why we couldn't be able to compete in the new conference and so on. And just with, the new facilities that we have and the size of John W. North and just the past history and bringing some new blood and some energy in there, it's going to work out.
Coach, how would you describe your brand of football? How do you want to see your Huskies playing?
I'll be lying saying our mindset starts in the weight room. We're going to kind of go back to old school. I'm an old school guy, and we're going to build our team mindset around the weight room and so on. And you're going to see us, we're going to hang on to that run game, and basically we're going to have a nice, good balanced attack, but we're going to be an aggressive football team. And I think that's from day one. I stepped on campus just today for a short period of time, but from day one, that's going to be our mindset. We're going to establish a little bit more toughness that a lot of high schools don't have right now, just because of a variety of different reasons. And I think we got to take it back to that old school way, what a lot of us was brought up, and and it starts in the weight room, and we're going to develop and we're going to teach these young men, and the biggest thing is we're going to make football important to them. We're going to see who is willing to make football important, and is football important to them. And I think with the combination of that and then in the weight room, I said, the field will take care of itself. We're going to have an opportunity to bring in a couple of good coaches to kind of help me out. So I'm excited about that. But everything kind of devotes back to what type of, energy, what type of balance, what type of toughness all starts in the weight room.
Coach, you also mentioned you're a Moval guy. So you went to Moreno Valley High School?
Canyon Springs.
You went to Canyon Springs, okay.
Canyon Springs.
So I want to say, so you guys will not be in the same league as your alma mater.
No. But I coached at Moreno Valley for 4 years and so on. So I have a lot of good ties. Coach Benitez is, a good friend. And so it'll be good to kind of get back home and kind of see all those guys and play them in conference. And, they're playing good football right now. Moreno Valley's football is increased, the city of Moreno Valley, which, with Vista Del Lago all the way down to Canyon Springs, Valley View, and Moval. So, it'll be a challenge for us. But, that's one thing about football. You better step up and rise up to the challenge.
Coach, you said it's been a while since you've done the high school football coaching thing. Has it changed? Do you feel like it's different nowadays, or is football at the end of the day, is football just football?
Man, football is football. I think it's kind of going in a little bit of a circle. I have a lot of friends that still coach high school football. And, you have a lot of the predominant powerhouse teams, especially in Southern California, of course, and then you have some teams that are just, trying to hold on, and of course, our overall goal is we don't want to be one of them teams that just trying to hold on. We want to keep our kids, we want them to have opportunity here in Riverside and so on. We want to make the conference better by including John W. North in the conference. So, we're excited about that. Has it changed? Yeah, college football has changed. High school football has changed. It's always changed, and it's starting to trickle down a little bit. Especially in the different states. California has some of the best football in the country by far. I've always believed that. I've always said that, and so now I get to be a part of it.
All right, Coach Harris, who are some of your coaching influences, guys that you either played for or coached alongside with? Who are some of the guys that you look up to in the coaching ranks?
Man, I was just fortunate enough to be brought up with some good ones in high school that kind of I've developed a work ethic, and we just did ball. That's all it was. It was just straight ball, and we did it 24/7. Of course, was able to play for Jack Fogarty, and so he's been a long time in the Empire coach, and he now retired. Coach Lou Randall, he was also on staff. Tony Chiardi, Scott Savoy, Hal Pfeiffer. There's a bunch of them. I can go on and on, but just just when I first started off coaching and so on, just being able to have mentors, the guys that kind of coached me, in junior college, Ron Smedley, big time Hall of Fame coach in junior college from San Bernardino Valley, Dave Ports, who's a good friend of mine. Longtime guy, just in high school and junior college rankings. And not to mention a lot of the other guys that I actually went to high school that's been doing it, man. Like, you had the Zomont brothers and so on. Those are Cane Springs Cougars right then and there. So, just looking at those guys, seeing how they do it. And now, you got the guys like the Ben Benitez is coming up. So when I was coaching, and coaching his older brother, those guys are now starting taking over the reins. And so it's interesting, man. There's, I honestly believe that you don't have to be an old guy, saying to be a mentor and to learn something from somebody. I've been out of it a little bit. I was fortunate enough to follow Matt Logan, man. We were in master's classes. He's going to be the first call I'm going to make, just how you do it. Been doing it this long at that high of a level, man. He's the GOAT to this right here. And he's right up the street, man. I would love for, just to go pick his brain, for a couple hours and just say, hey, man, how have you done it so long and do it the right way? So there's been a lot of good influence of coaches, man, I've crossed paths with just over my career, man. And that's what I'm excited about. There's a ton of good high school football coaches and junior college coaches just in the Inland Empire, and I'm excited to kind of get back in that circle again.
Coach, another thing I want to ask you too is, my personal opinion is so much of a school's identity is tied to the football team. You can even say a city, is tied to football. Like if you got a winning football team, people know that school by, is the football team winning? Are they good? Have they won championships? Whether it's that school community or even a city, how do you get people excited about JW North football again? And maybe winning takes care of a lot of that, right? To create that, that buzz again about the Huskies.
No doubt about it. Winning solves a lot of problems, man, honestly. But I think you start within campus and just doing it the right way and getting the players, the student athletes to kind of do it the right way. And, we're going to learn about how to do it the right way from Jump Street. And that's going to trickle through through the teachers, through the admin, out in the community and, into other programs. Having success is a key part, but, having success on the field on a Friday or Thursday night, it starts way before that and so on. And, that's the first thing that we're going to instill to our guys. It's not just about Thursday or Friday night. And I said, we got a lot of people counting on us, and I don't think a lot of times high school players at that young age even think about that, is that there's a lot of other people like the teacher in the English class, the teacher in the science class, the person in the band, even on the soccer team or the basketball team, they look up to football and that's how we got to take it and take a look at it. And that's how we have to attack it.
I think it's a great answer. I think a lot of people, you wear your Letterman's jacket with the football stuff on it or a JW North football sweater or whatever, walking around town. Like, I think that means a lot, right? I think, at least in my opinion, I think that means a lot when you're part of that team.
It should be an honor and a privilege to wear something that says John W. North football, and that's something that, it just goes back years. As soon as I took the job, I've had people blow me up that's played years back, and there's like, man, congratulations, welcome back to the Riverside. We're glad to have you. And so that just showed me right then and there's a ton of tradition at North High School. So.
All right, finally, Coach, what's at the top of your to-do list? You talked about, getting in the weight room, coaching staff. I mean, what's on your to-do list right now to get this thing going?
Oh man, I'm glad you said that. I was already working on it today, but I think the biggest thing right now is to put together one of the better staffs that North has had in a long time and so on. And there's a lot of great coaches out there that are willing to come on out and roll their sleeves up and get active with it and get busy. I think we owe it to the kids and we owe it to the community to put together one of the best staffs, man, that's not going to shortcut, John W. North. Then after that, hey, we got to get back in the weight room. We got to get in the weight room the right way. We got to lift with a purpose and so on. And then, of course, see where these kids stand at academically. I'm excited about that too at the same time. Part of the whole reason why I'm in coaching right now is because I was able to set goals for myself that was, I was helped from my high school coaches and my junior college coaches. So part of my job is, if a kid wants an opportunity to go on, kid could be a senior right now. That's my job, as a head coach at John W. North, is to help that young man out. So, I look forward to that too, but it's time to roll up our sleeves and get active with it and put together a great staff and let's go hit these weights.
Well, Coach Harris, congratulations on the JW North job. Very excited. Hopefully I'll see you on a sideline soon, but wanted to get you on the show and talk a little Husky football, man. Get people excited about JW North again.
Oh, man. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's, the first step. And, hey, to get on the show, that was step number one right then and there. So, hopefully we get to talk soon, buddy.
Hey, you know what? Winning takes care of a lot of things, and winning will get you back on the show too, right?
There we go. That's what I'd like to hear, man. I'm going to hold you to it. Hold me to it too as well.
You got it. That is Kiyoshi Harris, the brand new head football coach at JW North here on the Inland Sports Show.
Appreciate you.
Inland Sports.
All right, good stuff. Thank you for the interview, Coach, and we'll have more with Coach Harris this week on the Riverside Sports Update on Riverside TV. All right, we're going to take another quick break here on the Inland Sports Show. When we come back, we're going to talk some CBU men's basketball and the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference, with Kyle McDonald from WAC Hoops Nation. That's coming up next here on the Inland Sports Show right after this.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona, driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics helps student-athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. Visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken.
Thursday, which means time to meet up with our sports guy, Pep. Pep, what's going on?
Hey, good morning, Patrick, and all the rockers out there. Listen, I know you're still enjoying it, still living it up, man. In the basket in the Super Bowl glory of the Seattle Seahawks. They had, actually, Sam Darnold and Kenneth Walker III, they were at Disneyland on Monday. Then the big parade and rally and the big celebration. So Seahawks are living it up. They deserve it. And everyone I've talked to, they all agree. They were the best team in football, so it was good to see the best team in football win. But I'm going to say something crazy. I'm just going to say it out loud. Is it far-fetched to think that the city of Seattle might have two world champions in the same calendar year? I think the Dodgers are going to be the team to beat again. I think Toronto will be strong, but it's hard to get back to the World Series. I feel like Seattle might be the Mariners might be the best team in the American League going into this season.
It's funny you bring this up, Pep, because a lot of people were asking me, how did it feel to get your second Super Bowl? And for me, you do kind of have that feeling of you've been there before because we won Super Bowl 48. That first one, it's very hard to believe. I was like, your first time, to your point, if the Mariners were to win the World Series, it would be really hard for me to comprehend, just like the Seahawks were. It's hard because your whole life, it has never worked out. And eventually it does. Need star power. Lindsey Vonn was the star.
Yeah.
Even at 41, she went down. We need somebody for the Wheaties box. And I think we found him.
You're right. It was Lindsey Vonn. And for a long time, right? it was for a long time. Lindsey Vonn was a star at the Winter Games. But yeah, this Jordan Stoltz guys, what's funny is I was talking to my wife about it. She's like, I was like, we've never been good at speed skating. She's like, I think we have. What about that Apollo Anton Ono? Remember him? And I'm like, oh my gosh, from out of nowhere, off the top rope. I'm like, she got me.
Inland Sports.
All right, welcome back. That was me hanging out with Patrick in the morning on KCal 96.7 FM. We talk sports every Monday and Thursday morning, so check that out. That's KCal 96.7 FM with Patrick in the morn. All right, now we're talking some CBU men's basketball and the Western Athletic Conference with Kyle McDonald from WAC Hoops Nation. CBU, as we talk this week, tied for first place in the WAC. Just a handful of games left in the regular season before we get to the conference tournament. And if you win the conference tournament, you punch your ticket to the big dance, to March Madness. So here is Kyle McDonald from WAC Hoops Nation.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show from WAC Hoops Nation. Nobody loves WAC Hoops more than this guy, Kyle McDonald. And Kyle, listen, you're all over WAC Hoops. I know you understand how good CBU has been, especially at home where they are still undefeated. I know we're just scratching the surface on this, but what do you think makes the Lancers so dominant at home? It hasn't always been pretty. They've played a lot of close games, but they're still undefeated at home. What do you think makes CBU so tough when they play in Riverside?
Well, it's like you said, like they haven't really blown anybody out at home, right? Like they've been these games where they've had to kind of grind it out. But I mean, you got to I don't want to call. I guess they're called the CBU crazies. They get into it. The atmosphere has been really good. I think they're at the top of the WAC in attendance right now for their men's basketball home games. And I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to win home games, and they're so good at it because they have a closer. And we'll talk about them obviously here in just a minute. But they have a closer, but they have complementary guys that can close games too. And I think that's the key to it, is you have to have closers, especially at home, that say, give me the ball, I'm going to do what needs to be done, and they're going to make plays. And I'm excited because I get to come out to Riverside next Thursday when they host UT Arlington. I've been to Fowler Event Center, I think, at least once every year for the past 2 or 3 years. And so coming back out there this final year of the Western Athletic Conference and, going to experience it. So last year I was out there on Star Wars night.
Yeah.
And they lost to Utah Valley in a crazy ending. So excited to be out there again.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun atmosphere. They are the big show in town now. That a lot of great community support and fan support for CBU basketball. And it helps when you win. I mean, winning takes care of a lot of things, right? When you have a winner and a team that's winning, that product is easy to sell, right, to the community. So,
well, I mean, yeah, you look at it, California Baptist is at the top of the WAC. UC Riverside across town is at the bottom of the Big West. So, like, people now have a choice. Who do I cheer for? And so I know that's a rivalry game, but you got to cheer for the Lancers. They've invested in the program. Rick Corey's done a good job of getting these guys to play together because he's had talent nearly every year there in Riverside, and so he's finally got them together. Where it's not just focused on one guy or the other. He's got his role guys that know how to play their role to perfection, and that's made a huge difference this year. Considering, everybody knew that Dom Daniels Jr. was coming back, and he's got the right role players that are buying into their roles this year.
They obviously just had their win streak snapped on the road at Utah Tech, but they've been playing really good basketball. I know they started sluggish, right, in conference play, losing those first 3 on the road, but they kind of figured things out. For CBU to win the WAC, I mean, they've got a couple more big games coming up, including Utah Valley, which I think is still a big game. What do you think CBU needs to continue to do to find themselves in one of those, first round buys as we get closer to WAC Vegas?
I mean, the answer is the Al Davis answer, right? Just win, baby, right? So, I mean, that's the biggest key, but just keep executing at a high level. Like the Utah Tech loss, you can kind of scratch that because, I mean, Utah Tech at Burns Arena is really good. Mm-hmm. I mean, they beat Utah Valley, UT Arlington, and CBU in this 3-game homestand to put themselves in a tie for first place top the WAC standings. And it's a better Utah Tech team than we've seen over the years, right? And so the start to WAC play, you go to Utah Valley, you go to, I believe it was, who else did they go? UT Arlington and Tarleton State, like on the road, 3 of the best teams that we thought were the best teams in the league to start WAC play. That's not easy to do, especially over New Year's Eve and so forth, all that travel. So then they win 9 straight. And I just think that they got to continue to rely on Dom. Dom's going to continue to play at a high level, which he has been. But, excuse me, Martell Williams has to continue to play at a high level. He's been playing that second scorer role to perfection. And his big body, his athleticism, his ability to shoot the 3, really good. Jaden Jackson's been really good lately. And then the bigs have been really good. I love Jonathan Griman's game. Mm-hmm. He's just tall, long, and I mean, if he realizes that he can play above the rim a little bit more than he does, watch out, because that guy has crazy talent, crazy ability, and I love watching his game. But yeah, I mean, it's everything goes as Dom goes, but now it's not. I say that with respect to the other guys because Martell Williams could go off. Yeah, Gordon Mueller has had bright spots. Jaden Jackson's had bright spots. There's just been different guys stepping up in key moments, and that just keep winning, just keep doing what you've been doing, and it starts Thursday night. Win that game, and you control really your own destiny to the 1 seed by continuing to win out because you don't have to play Utah Tech again. And, you hold a tiebreaker over Utah Tech for that 1 seed because you won the season series 2-1. So just win, baby. That's all you can say. Just win.
Kyle, let me ask you this. As we talk right now, is Dominique Daniels the WAC player of the year, especially if CBU finishes in the, if they win the regular season title or finish in the top 2, is he the WAC player of the year?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way, Pep. I went to the Utah game back in December.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And, he had, I think it was 30 plus points and he pulled down 12 boards. This is the smallest guy on the floor doing this, and he does that on a consistent basis. Like he's unguardable, right? Like people think because he's so small that he's going to be easily guardable. They'll put a bigger guard on him. No, you can't stop him. And the little floaters that he goes, whether it's his right hand or left hand in the lane, that it always hits the bottom of the net. Right now he's shooting the 3 ball a little bit better, and he knows when to attack. And so, I mean, Dior Johnson was up there when he was scoring, 30 plus a game for, 5 straight games or so. And then he got hurt, and Tarleton's at the bottom of the league. That's the difference here is Dom Daniels Jr. is on a team that is competing for a WAC regular season title. And usually, I think it was Billy Donlin when he was a coach at Kansas City, he said it. He's like, how they affect winning will also play into the WAC player of the year conversation. And, I mean, Dom Daniels Jr. Without Dom Daniels Jr. and no offense to the other Lancers, without him, CBU is not at the top of the WAC right now.
Yeah.
So that's all the argument I could say. He was the preseason WAC player of the year for a reason, and he's earned his stripes, and he continues to do it on a nightly basis, even though most defenses are put together. Most defensive schemes are put together to slow him down somehow, but nobody can.
Yeah, he is just so quick, so fast getting to the rim. And here's the other thing too, Kyle. Dude, the fans love him, man. Like I did UC Riverside basketball for 3 seasons. I've done CBU since 2019. I can't remember another player in the city of Riverside at the college level that the fans love. I mean, they really gravitate towards him. I mean, they got kids wearing Dom Daniels jerseys and shirts, and they're hanging out afterwards to get his autograph. This usually doesn't happen at a mid-major, right? This doesn't happen, at least from what I've seen in the Big West or the WAC. Like, people love Dominique Daniels Jr. And he's a lovable guy, man. He's a musician. He's he's strong in his faith. He's obviously a great player, and he makes time for the fans. I mean, you'll see it when you come out. Like they love him, and the fact that he is kind of the poster guy for the program. Your best player is also like your best guy as well, right? Your best dude. The community loves him. Yeah,
last year when I was out there when they lost a heartbreaker to Utah Valley, Star Wars night, and I walked out of the Fowler Event Center after the game, and he was out there talking with family and friends, and I just couldn't help myself. I walked up to him, shook his hand, and I told him, I was like, "You're one of my favorite players to cover and to watch in this league," and he is. Like, the way that he goes about it, he's on attack mode. Like a guy that's 5'10". I mean, he's barely 5'10", right? Like, he's not even.
I'm 5'10". I don't know if he's 5'10".
He might be 5'9", 5'8". Still, he's the smallest guy on the floor, and yet he's attacking everybody, right? He's not afraid to get in there and get physical and go attack, right? And he's going to finish, and then he's going to let you know, right? And that's the fun part is when you see him flex, after he hits a big shot, or
that's his move,
right? Like the two arms and the scream, and like, it's just so much fun. And the thing is, the thing that I think that fans love, CBU fans love, is that he stayed at California Baptist. Like, he could have probably left after last year, maybe even the year before, because he's been really good, all 3 years here at CBU. He could have left after the past 2 years to go somewhere else for more money, but he stayed around, and now he's leading a team that is in contention for the WAC regular season title, and depending on certain things happening, has a shot to make the NCAA tournament. For the first time in program, the Division I era, right? Because they're newer to Division I. So, I mean, that adheres fans more to a player than anything else, especially nowadays with the transfer portal and the ease of which you can transfer, and the fact that you got big schools coming with more money and offering all that kind of stuff. And the fact that he stayed for these 3 years, I think, is what CBU fans have come to love, is the loyalty that he's shown to Lancer Nation.
Dude, Kyle, you nailed it. I mean, because he's had some injuries, in the past, and Coach Croy and CBU stayed loyal to him, so he stayed loyal, to the Lancers too. And he's already, if not the greatest CBU, at least Division I player, that we've seen statistically speaking. Man, if he was the guy that led them to March Madness for the very first time, he'd be cemented as, maybe the greatest Lancer, of all time. So it's pretty fun to see him have all the success and being a good dude. Let me get what more immediate. CBU is going to play Utah Valley coming up, which on paper is a huge game, right? I think Utah Valley's 1 win back, I want to say, in the standings.
Yeah, they're half game back at 8-4.
Yeah, so I think CBU and Utah Tech are 9-4. They're 8-4. So on paper, it's obviously a massive game. But at the end of the season, as we have this conversation, we still don't know the fate of Utah Valley. If they're going to be in the tournament, are they going to get a first round bye? Are they not going to be in the tournament? Is CBU or Utah Tech going to be a heavy favorite going into the tournament? Just knowing what we know right now, I mean, what do you think the odds are that CBU is going to find a way to stack a couple wins in March and get to March Madness?
That hypothetical, right? It's like, is Utah Valley going to be in the tournament? Is Utah Valley not going to be in the tournament with what's going on with the this lawsuit with the Western Athletic Conference? That's the biggest question of the day. I'll start first. Thursday's huge, and the reason I say that, even though we don't know what Utah Valley's status is going to be for the WAC tournament, it's huge for both teams. And the reason why, Utah Valley is the defending regular season champion. If they lose, they kind of put themselves in a bad spot if they are to go to WAC Vegas. But they put themselves a game back at both Utah Tech and CBU in the regular season standings. And they have to go to Utah Tech on the final day of regular season. So that doesn't bode well, right? Plus, they lose the tiebreaker in the sense of if CBU ends up, losing a game after they beat Utah Valley, that CBU would get that 1 seed, and have to avoid a Utah Tech in the, semifinals possibly. So it's huge for Utah Valley in that sense. For CBU, it's huge because you don't get to play Utah Valley again. You don't get to play Utah Tech again. And you're going to need some help down the road if you lose on Thursday, with Utah Valley and Utah Tech. They play each other. So let's say Utah Tech, Utah Valley win out. Then, the winner of that game on the final day of the regular season wins the regular season title. That's the 1 seed. If it's Utah Tech that wins and gives Utah Valley its 5th loss, well, Utah Valley still gets that 2 seed over CBU because they won the season series. So that's why it's huge for that purpose, without thinking about the WAC tournament. Now, the WAC tournament, if Utah Valley's not in, we talked about this before we started, talking here, that it'll be 6 teams. And I think it'll be, a first or what is that? Quarterfinal games, 4 teams playing the quarterfinals, the first and second seeds, top 2 seeds, which would be, as of right now, CBU and Utah Tech. They get a bye to the semifinals just like they have it. And then, you wouldn't have that 6-7 game like they have, scheduled for Wednesday, March 11th. So they break that down that way. It's still kind of be similar to what they have. They just remove that first round, make it a 3-day tournament instead of a 4-day tournament. Right. And so I don't know what's going on with Utah Valley. They filed for an injunction and a restraining order today against the WAC. Hopefully, they get that granted so that their teams can compete. Because like we said, next week is the WAC Indoor Track and Field Championships. And if it's not resolved by then, their indoor track and field athletes can't compete at that WAC championship. And so we'll see. I know some people have said, it's going to work out one way or the other. I don't know what exactly that means. It'd be a shame if Utah Valley's not there, because then you don't have a full field of these 7 WAC teams to compete. And, for the majority of them, I think outside of UT Arlington and ACU, so 5 of the teams have never been to the NCAA tournament. So, well, I shouldn't say that 4 of the teams, because Southern Utah went a few years way back when, but
Abilene Christian has.
Abilene Christian, UT Arlington, and Southern Utah are the ones that have gone. So Utah Valley, California Baptist, Utah Tech, and Tarleton State. So 3 of the newest members of Division I, and then Utah Valley has been around for the past 13 years. And
so basically, Kyle, at least basketball-wise, if CBU can beat Utah Valley in their next game, they would hold the head-to-head tiebreaker against Utah Valley and Utah Tech. So they'd be in a good spot.
Very good spot. Yep, very good spot in the case of a tie. And right now, you look at the standings. Those top 3 teams are. You look at where they're at in the standings. They're, what is it now, 3 or 4 games ahead of UT Arlington.
Yeah, there's some separation now.
The Mavs have stumbled, and then you got Utah Tech or Southern Utah at 5-8, and Tarleton State and Abilene Christian bring up the rear at 4-9. So they have some room here with 5 games to play, 6 games to play, and so it'll be a fun finish for these top 3 teams that have really kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack this year.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you as well, Kyle, next week at the Fowler Event Center as CBU is back home in Riverside following a big game on the road against Utah Valley this week. That's Kyle McDonald from WAC Hoops Nation breaking it down here on the Inland Sports Show. Thanks so much, Kyle.
Thanks, Pep. We'll see you next week.
Inland Sports.
All right, good stuff from Kyle McDonald from WAC Hoops Nation. A big thanks to Kyle. Big thanks to the Paloma Valley boys wrestling team, CIF Southern Section Eastern Division champions. And, of course, Kiyoshi Harris, the new head football coach at JW North. If you made it this far, give this video a like. We would appreciate it. And subscribe to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. We're also on social media, on X, on Twitter. Same thing, Instagram and Facebook. So make sure you follow Inland Sports. My name is Pep Fernandez. God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Good night.